going on, everybody? I'm back with another YouTube video. Now, in today's video, guys, we're going to be doing yet again another double movie review, whatever you want to call it. And today, we're going to be doing it on the Percy Jackson films. But, of course, I do have some announcements to make first. Alright, so first of all, I apologize that I have not been uploading nor doing streams in the last few days. I've been a little bit sick the last few days, and I don't know, my nose is a little congested, so my voice sounds a little bit weird, and I've been coughing, so it was a bit hard to make videos. Plus, I've been trying to make these videos the past few days, and I keep messing up, not because I'm sick, but because I can't do the movie reviews right. I keep forgetting something, and I completely blank out halfway through, and I just decide to give up. But other than that, besides this movie review, the next movie review will be The National Treasure. I don't know which one will come out first. This one will probably come out first, and the National Treasure one will probably come out a little bit later after that. Still continuing reading the Raleigh Jefferson's Awesome Friendly Spooky Stories book. I'm not going to do a book review on that, but it will be a part of the ranking at the end of the year, so don't worry about it right now. And I'm also working on a DVD perk video where it's just going to be like the tier list. It's going to be on my computer, and I'm going to go through and give suggested buffs. My suggested buffs for all the perks in DVD. Well, not every single one, but for any perk that I think needs a buff or a nerf. There's probably not going to be a lot of ones where I think they need a nerf. It's mainly going to be suggested buffs for DVD perks. So I thought that would be a fun video to do. And it looks like that short film is just going to have to get put aside, if not just canceled, because I think I accidentally got out of the group chat and they can't send me the videos now. I'm not too worried about it, and you shouldn't be either. And other than that, I will probably be streaming tonight, the day I'm recording this video, but the day this video comes out is definitely not going to be today, so it's not going to matter. But make sure you stay tuned for those near daily streams and read the community posts so that you can stay updated with any changes that are happening with the channel, and make sure that you join the Discord. The link will always be in the description. And let's get on to this movie review. We're going to do this movie review just like we do all of the other double movie reviews. I'm going to talk about what each one is about, individually rate them, compare them, and tell you which one I think is better. So we're going to be starting off with, of course, Percy Jackson and the Olympians of the Lightning Thief. Before we talk about it, though, the kind of genre that these movies are in are kind of like Harry Potter in a way, but no means a copy of Harry Potter. These are about Greek gods and Greek mythology, so I always thought that was pretty cool. You don't really see a lot of films that talk about that. Based on the scores, these are like slightly above average. Most of the movies that I have done are like slightly below average, but these movies are slightly above average. So if it was like on a scale of 1 to 10, in terms of the critics' consensus, it would be about a 6 out of 10, around there. Now for me, it's probably going to be a little bit higher. But we'll just have to see when I talk about these films. So what is Percy Jackson, the Olympians, the Lightning Thief about? So we get introduced to this kid named Percy who has a friend named Grover who's going to be one of the main characters in the film. And he goes to this school, lives in this apartment with his mom and this like really crappy, kind of abusive stepdad. And Percy is kind of mad because there's a lot of like unanswered questions in his life, like, you know, why his dad left him, and you know, why he has this dyslexia and ADHD, and why is it getting worse? Why is this school supposed to be helping with my disabilities and stuff like that? So there's a lot of unanswered questions that he has, and those questions get answered when he goes on a field trip for school, and the substitute teacher takes him into this back room. He thinks he did something, he thinks he got in trouble or whatever, so the teacher turns into this like big beast. There's going to be a lot of that in these two films, is like mythical creatures in Greek mythology and stuff like that. And she asked to give him the lightning bolt. He does not know what this is. So Mr. D, the guy who's doing the tour in the place that they were on the trip for, comes in with Grover, and he basically shoos her away. And Mr. D tells Grover to take Percy back to his apartment to get his mom and they're gonna go to take him to Camp Half-Blood. So they go to Camp Half-Blood, but before they go into Camp Half-Blood, his mom gets taken by this other big beast like creature that is actually like I think it's like a minotaur from Hades, and she can't go in Camp Half-Blood because she's not a half-blood. So the minotaur takes her. Percy kills the minotaur, but faints, and we come back to him in this infirmary in that Camp Half-Blood, and Grover basically answers all the questions that he was concerned about. So he tells him why his dad left him, because he's actually a demigod and his dad is Poseidon, and he learns that the mom had that crappy stepdad with him. It was so that they could hide the fact that he was a son of one of the eldest gods, and he's believed to be one of the only sons of the eldest gods. We learn that he isn't in the second film, but and for the sake of this first film, we'll just keep it like this. So they start doing a little bit training after they talk for a while. We get introduced to a few other characters who are going to be important for this film, Annabeth and Luke. And after doing some training, they decide to go on a quest to retrieve the lightning bolt, and so Percy can get back his mother from the underworld. So to get into the underworld, before they try to attempt to do that, they get some materials from Luke, one of the characters we're introduced with. He gives them some flying shoes, a map, which will tell them where to get these pearls that will help them get out of the underworld once they get there. So they travel kind of around the U.S. to get these pearls. First, they go to this this little garden area, and it has like a bunch of like stone figures, and they learn that Medusa is actually there. And while they're at the trip, or while they're there, they get some drachmas. I don't know how to pronounce it, but basically they're like currency for the underworld that they'll need later on. But they learn that Medusa is there, a defeater, and they get one pearl from her. Then they go to another place, this museum that has a statue of Athena, which is Annabeth's mother. So she is actually this goddess of wisdom. And they get a pearl from that. They use the flying shoes to get up to the top of the statue and take the pearl off of like her little amulet that she has. But before they leave, there's like some janitors that turn into this headed hydra creature that they eventually defeat. After that, they go to Las Vegas at this Lotus Casino that like traps people in there by giving them like these like lotus flowers that basically makes it seem like time is going by normally, but really it's going by really, really quickly. So people from like 1970s are in there thinking it's still the 1970s. It's crazy. But Percy eventually wakes up because his father can actually talk and send him messages through his head. Basically, he can talk to him in his head telepathically, and he basically gets Percy to wake up, and he reminds Annabeth and Grover that we're here to find the pearl. So they find the pearl, they escape the casino. So they get all 3 pearls that they need, and they go to where the underworld is, and they use the drachmas to get into the underworld. They find Hades, and Hades thinks that they're a liar because when he shows them his mother, he drops the shield that Luke gave to him that is revealed to have the lightning bolt in it. So Hades thinks he's a liar and tries to kill them, but they try to explain to him that Luke rigged the shield and set them up to make it look like it was them. So the wife, who's actually like forced to be Hades' wife, doesn't like Hades. She eventually gets a hold of the lightning bolt, knocks out Hades, and they leave the underworld with the pearls. But they don't have enough pearls to get everyone out because they have Annabeth, Percy, Grover, and his mother. So Grover has to stay there because he is a satyr. He's the protector. So they go to Olympus to retrieve the lightning bolt. They get back Grover. Basically, Percy saves the world because if he wouldn't have retrieved the lightning bolt, which is basically one of the most powerful weapons that is wielded by the eldest gods, they would have started a war, and it would have caused like extreme weather conditions across the world. It would have just been an absolute disaster. So yeah, that's basically what the Percy Jackson Olympians and Lightning Thief is about. And there is a battle before they go to Olympus with Luke and Percy, obviously, because we learn what Luke's like evil plans were. Basically, he wanted to like destroy Olympus and take over for a new generation of gods. And they knew that Luke was not a hero like they were, and he didn't deserve to take control of Olympus. So that's what Percy Jackson and the Olympians and Lightning Thief is about. What would I give this film on a scale of 1 to 10? I think it's a great film. Very, very enjoyable. Grover is a very, very good comical relief in this film. He's one of those like main characters that is the funny one, so he cracks out the good jokes. And yeah, what would I rate this film as? It's really hard because there's like not really anything to judge about, but it's like not like a perfect film at the same time. It feels like a perfect film, but obviously it isn't. But there's not really anything bad to say about it either. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this film probably an 8 out of 10 for me. And I think that's a reasonable score. I don't want to give it anything higher because I know that critics or dedicated movie fans would probably have something negative to say about this film that I just can't think of off the top of my head. So that is Percy Jackson and the Olympians and Lightning Thief. Now we have 3 years later in 2013, we get Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters. And in this film, we get introduced to 2 new characters, Clarice, who's going to be a main character, and also Tyson, who's going to be a main character. And basically at the beginning of the film, we get introduced to Tyson, and we learn that he is actually another son of Poseidon. So Percy Jackson is not the only son of Poseidon. This is confirmed at the end of the film. I don't know why they had to confuse us and make us think that he wasn't the son of Poseidon. And this is going to be one of the main drawbacks to Sea of Monsters. There's a lot of times in this film where they try to make you like think that this is what's going to happen, but you're like, okay, well, obviously he is like this is what's happening, and they're like, well, no, maybe this isn't true. Like, this film confuses itself for no reason, and the viewers aren't really confused. It's just the film tries to confuse you for some reason. Like, I don't get what they were trying to do at certain spots. Unless you watch this film and you truly understand it, you'll understand what I'm saying. But this is one of the things that holds back this film a little bit, is that it tries to confuse you a little bit with, like, the plot and stuff like that, and, like, the characters, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I understand this film, but the film doesn't want me to understand it for some reason. That's what it feels like. But anyways, Tyson is, like, this Cyclops, and, like, the Mr. D and, like, some of the people who run the Camp Half-Blood are, like, kind of confused how he got into there, because we learn about how, like, the barrier was created. Basically, a little backstory. When Annabeth, Luke, and Grover got into the camp, there was another girl named Talia, who was a daughter of Zeus. And while they were trying to get in camp, there was these Cyclops, these big Cyclops that were attacking them. And they got through the camp, and Talia was basically sacrificed her life to try to kill the Cyclops. The Cyclops killed her, and because she is the daughter of Zeus, Zeus gave her a new life as a tree, and this tree would be the barrier for Camp Half-Blood. So that's basically how the barrier was created. So the people who run the camp, Mr. D and this other character that's introduced, who isn't really all too important, are kind of confused how he got in there, because he isn't really half-blood. He's like a different kind of, I guess, species. Like, he's like half Cyclops, half this. Once again, the movie tries to confuse you with this, but I don't think they really get anywhere with it. But anyways, Tyson is like kind of this childlike weird brother who Percy doesn't really like at first. But we get to really enjoy this character throughout the film, and there's lots of character development with Tyson in this film, and you get to see that a lot. And he's kind of he kind of takes over as the funny character in this film because we don't really get to see Grover a whole lot in this film, but we still do get a lot of funny moments. But basically, what's the conflict? The barrier gets broken, and we learn that it was Luke who broke the barrier, who was trying to basically destroy the camp. And Luke is trying to fulfill this prophecy that was made. So Percy learns what the prophecy is about. Basically, before the eldest gods were alive, this other guy, I forget what his name was, I think it was like Tartarus or something like that, was the ruler of all the Titans, which were basically the humans way back in Greek mythology. And the eldest gods defeated Tartarus, and his remains lie in like this little, I don't know, this little like podium thing. And to revive Tartarus, you have to put this golden fleece over it, and he will be revived. So Luke's plan is to ruin Percy's prophecy by bringing him back and destroying Olympus. If that happens, Percy's prophecy is ruined. So Percy tries to fulfill his prophecy by saving Olympus instead of destroying it. And once again, the movie tries to confuse you by saying, well, what if it isn't about Percy? You know, like, what if it is about, because they don't specify who it is. They say one of these sons or daughters of the eldest gods, and Percy is believed to be the only son of the eldest gods. But obviously Talia, who's the son of Zeus, at the beginning of the film, this is confirmed, and Tyson. So those other two characters could be the savior of Olympus. But of course, Percy, at the end of the film, was the savior of Olympus because he was the one who destroyed Tartarus. The movie tries to confuse you to set up another sequel. I really hate what they do in this. But anyways, they go on this quest. They try to get the Golden Fleece. They eventually get the Golden Fleece. And as they do, Luke is there to basically interrupt them. And he eventually does get is successful at reviving Tartarus. And Percy destroys him by this like curse of blade thing that we were introduced to earlier in the film. And it's like, I don't know, it's basically a part of the prophecy, but he learns that this is what he's supposed to do because like his sword that his father gave to him like starts shining up, and he's like, it's the curse of blade. So he goes and he destroys Tartarus by like using his blade and stabbing it into him, and all of the remains of Tartarus go back to the little podium thing or whatever, and they take the Golden Fleece. They revive the tree because the barrier was broken, and Talia comes back to life and is no longer in tree form, but I believe they still have the barrier. And that's where they try to set up the sequel by making it, because obviously Percy is not the only son of the eldest gods now, because she is a daughter of Zeus. So was she supposed to be a part of the prophecy? Basically, they try to set up another sequel. And a sequel was supposed to come, but unfortunately it was canceled, never happened. So that's what Sea of Monsters is about. I know the plot line is very confusing. It's very hard to understand what these two films are about unless you watch the movies. So I do encourage you to watch both movies. I think they're very good. They have lots of good action that will keep you on your seat, so to speak. So Sea of Monsters, for me, gets a 7 out of 10. I don't think it's slightly above average, but it's not as good as Percy Jackson and Olympians and Lightning Thief. Personally, I could rewatch Sea of Monsters more than Percy Jackson and the Olympians and Lightning Thief, but I still think that the first one is better. So this is the usual occasion when the original does better than the sequel. Both of these films, though, I think are really good. I always liked the Greek, anything about the Greek mythology, and this really got me into it. So, yeah, I think just the only thing that really holds back Sea of Monsters is the fact that they, like, the kind of confusing stuff that they do with the characters and the plot and stuff like that. And I guess it does kind of make sense because they were planning to make a sequel to this film, but now it's just left with a mess inside of the film, and we'll never really know what happens unless they decide to make a sequel in some years, but I just doubt it will ever happen, and if it does, I don't think anybody can really take the place of Logan Lerman and the other original characters in these two films. So yeah, two very, very great films. I encourage you, if you want to get into the Greek gods and Greek mythology, I encourage you to watch these films. I think they're both above average, certainly. It's just Sea of Monsters has a few drawbacks that bring it behind the original film. So that's it for the movie review. All right, thank you guys. Finally, I did not mess up. I know that it was a bit confusing with the whole explanation there and stuff like that. I try to make these movie reviews shorter. I don't know. I don't understand how I originally did the book reviews without explaining like what the book was about. I just don't understand how I did that. But next up is the National Treasure films, which is another double set of movies. And I will be getting to work on that perk video for DVD. And I'll be getting back to the near daily streams as well, so make sure you stay tuned for those. Read the community posts so that you can stay updated with the channel, and join the Discord. The link will always be in the description of every video. Other than that, like and subscribe, guys, and I'll see you next time.